you're watching 1700. My name is Eliza and I'm with Taymi, and here we are with the wonderful Screamfeeder. How are you guys going?
Great.
Really good. Thank you.
That's good. Now, Screamfeeder, you have been a band since 1991. Do you want to tell us how it all started and how do you think your music sound has changed when you started to now?
Sure. Well, I started the band in Townsville actually, so I used to live up there in the late 80s and early 90s. And we moved the band to Brisbane because, we thought there'd be more gigs and whatnot. And we met her really soon after moving, and it just was like this, she was destined to be in the band, and it happened, to cut a long story short. And then from there it was
straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the really condensed version with lots of sound effects.
Yeah. We've never done that before. I like it. We should do that from now on.
Okay.
Acting it out.
Yeah, that'd be good. We could do a whole thing in acting with no talking.
Yeah.
Now, as well, with you guys being around for for a bit of time, being an experienced band in the Australian music industry, quick rapid fire, what are some career highlights for you guys over the years?
I'll go. Pavement tour. Their first time Pavement came out to Australia. We did the full tour with them and Crow, and that was just really one of our highlights for me. It was so much fun.
That's insane. I knew you guys did that. I didn't realize that it was Pavement's first tour.
Yeah.
What a privilege.
I know. And we also ended up playing their very last show in Australia as well. Like, they haven't been back since, but so we did the first tour and the last show they played here, which I don't know what year that was. But yeah, that was great. What about you, Tim?
Just really being part of the whole 90s explosion of music in Australia, and being, always out on tour, playing festivals, living in a Tarago basically, and just having an awesome time doing it.
That would sound like would be cool, because it's obviously such a turning point in music as well in the 90s, between obviously the 90s to 2000s, and how it would have been music. You've been influenced by so many different aspects of life, but also like technology, and it had been just such a crazy time.
It really was. And it was also, we were in our early 20s, so it was the time of our lives, and it was like this full change of the guard of music back then too. So Nirvana was #1 around the early 90s, and before that it had been like Michael Jackson and Guns N' Roses, and then we had like a really cool underground scene in Brisbane that we were really united. People didn't tour so much or anything really back then, and then a radio station became a national station and united the whole country. So all these little scenes were kind of joining up together, and it was a really, really exciting time.
And it was really like innocent and naive, just easy. It wasn't like stressful, and you didn't have to plan things so many months ahead, and it was all just very spontaneous and kind of fun.
It would have definitely been such a special thing to be part of, and watching it all, change and evolve and grow as it went. How would you say that being part of that to now current day, how would you say that your music and, the way that you guys conduct yourself as a band has changed over time?
Wow. I mean, that's a really good question, because I think it really has changed a lot. There's a lot of things that have stayed the same though. Like, we go to practice every week, we still write songs together and flesh them out in the practice room. But, now we have a manager and a promo team who are helping us get our new record out. There's a few more cogs in the wheel, the wheels that turn in some ways. And I think, I don't know if you could say we're jaded and cynical, but, with age and doing this for such a long time, there does come a sort of layer of, yeah, okay, seen this before, or, and seeing, maybe like a whole new slew of stuff come through, and wondering who will last. There's that sounds awfully cynical and stuff, but there are a lot of things like driving to practice together and talking crap and
And
those types of things.
Like things like we get to the airport, we've all got roles. Like Kelly knows her role is to go and get the trolleys. I know my role is to take the hire car back, and it's been like that since day dot, like literally for like decades. And we just fall into these roles, and it's easy and kind of cool.
Just fallen into routine and stuck with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the formation and it works.
Yeah. We know what works, and we've tried it with other bands and things don't quite work the same way. But because that's, we've been doing this for so long, it's assumed what needs to be done, and we know how to do it together. I was going to say, like, the last couple of years, though, have been really hard because, we had tried to go on tour in 2020. Our last album was out in 2017. So, I think a lot of people think that we're this band that hasn't been doing a lot for the last 10, 15 years, but we have been putting out music and we have been touring, but things in our touring way have changed. Like, we don't go out for 3 weeks in a car and just travel around. Like, we've all got jobs, we've all got families or whatever. That kind of stuff's really changed now. We just do weekends, and with all of the cancellations and postponement of all the COVID and all of the things that happened in the last couple of years, it's just been having to roll with the punches. And honestly, we've never experienced anything like the last couple of years ever. It's just never been something we've had to deal with, is it, Tim? It's just been so bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, it is really nuts. But the only other thing that it has echoes of is in around the mid-noughties, where suddenly we felt the whole music scene and the way music operated in this country changed really fast, like with digital and stuff. And it almost became like the live touring circuit that we were a part of kind of started crumbling, and it was unsustainable, and we stopped touring for quite a while, actually, because it was all of a sudden it didn't have the life that it once had. So that was a bit of a shock as well.
Yeah, I would think, I've obviously spoken to other musicians on this show, and they were talking about when everything was in COVID, it was really hard for them to be creative and things like that, because you don't have the momentum and you just keep getting depleted when you don't have the shows and the things you want. And speaking of being creative, you're obviously releasing your brand new single, Don't Get Me Started, from your upcoming album, 5 Rooms. What was the process like in creating that, and like, obviously, how was the production when, in the midst of, we're still kind of in the midst of everything. So what was the production like in creating this brand new album?
Well, that single, I wrote that one just trying to fool around with garage bands. I sort of mainly write on the guitar, but I was I got a new what do you call it? What are those things, Tim? Focus, right? What are they called?
Oh, like preamp.
Yeah, no, putting it into the computer, it's called a certain thing.
I don't know.
Whatever. A little thing to plug your guitar into the computer so you can record. Anyway, so I was just fooling around with the new one, and I just was trying to get sounds, and then I got a drum beat. I started writing the rhythm, and then I wrote a counter rhythm, and then put the bass down. I was like, wow, this is really fun, and this is really cool. And then just kind of kept going with it and wrote a song out of it. But I wasn't really thinking it was going to be anything. So we kind of banged it into some shape in the practice room. And when COVID started for me, like when the whole thing started shutting down, I wasn't really writing songs. Like, I didn't feel at all creative. I was finding it really hard, and people saying, I'm going to learn a new program. I'm going to write a whole record. I'm going to write a film script and a book. And, I'm like, I'm just going to like not do stuff right now. So we did start writing a record around this time, though. So we kind of slowly went through that process. And then, we got Anna Laverty to come, and we had the whole thing was postponed for like 8 weeks or even longer. Tim, do you want to tell some of the story?
Yeah, we actually had the album originally. We were going to record in April, and we ended up recording in July, which was a godsend, because even though it was annoying at the time, we weren't ready. Like, the songs were nowhere near ready. So it's like, oh my God, thank God we got pushed back a couple of months so we could get them ready. Cal was saying that she wasn't feeling creative. For me, when I know there's an album recording coming, I just start banging out a ton of songs. So like, I'll write 10 songs in 2 months, and then the next 2 years I won't write any. So for me, it was like that. I'd be coming to practice with another song. Kelly'd be like, no. And that's just how we work. So yeah, we cram at the last minute.
Yeah, but then I started getting into like, I have some songs I've got to write. So I was then able to go through like my little archive on my phone of stupid little riffs I've written over the past however long. And unfortunately, I've now lost that because the app doesn't exist anymore, and I've lost hundreds and hundreds of little recordings that I rely on to write songs. And now I've got to start fresh. It's like liberating and awful at the same time.
I reckon it's going to be interesting seeing what things actually come back to you. I feel like the important ones are what's actually going to come back.
They're never coming back. They're all lost forever now. They're gone. But that's okay. There's fresh. More. I always think the last song I've written is the last song I'm ever going to write. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, see, speaking of kind of sonic-wise, sound-wise, what kind of sound can we expect from, this new coming record? What can we expect from the release of 5 Rooms?
Well, I'd say it's not that far away sonically from how Screamfeeder sounds. Like, I know we kind of change our approach to most albums, but I think this one's probably pretty true to what we sound like.
Just the natural progression.
Yeah. And,
I think it's pretty true to who we are.
We didn't really have any grand plans with the sound. We just really shot ourselves into the studio for 2 weeks, just did it as fast as we could. And when we did that with all our old albums as well. And what comes out is like this document of the performances and the actual sounds you got out of your gear. And that's how it's always going to be forever. And like, you might get it home and go, holy shit, the guitar sounds terrible, or the bass sounds awesome, or whatever it is. And that's what you got to live with forever. And that's what happened in that fortnight. And like for me, like I was kind of starting to pre-mix some of the songs at home after we recorded. And I was like, I hate all the guitar sounds. We didn't get good amps and we didn't play good parts. And now I've sort of like got myself a little away from that. I'm like, yeah, they're fine. It's cool. But, it's like you're just in the moment and there's no time to fart around, trying 10 different amps and 10 guitars. Like if you got someone else breathing down your neck, wanting to put this part down. So it's like, you just got to do it and it's in the moment.
Yeah. I think we're quite traditional in the way we record too, because it's like we're recording the thing in the moment. So it's like the snapshot, like Tim said. We don't spend years making it. We just record it, mix it, put it out. Or we write it. We spend probably years writing it in some cases.
I think, I thought that was really prevalent in your music as well. I thought it was really such like an organic way, I guess. I mean, I think it was more true to form in comparison to, some artists today. They're very, very different, and they spend, you hear them spending like months on one track. And I'm like, it's really, really hard. And they're trying to like, and I'm like, for me, I think it takes away sometimes a bit of the organic and natural progression of what music is and what music does. So I think that's really prevalent in your, in your songs, which is really, really great. Hey guys, welcome back to 1700. We are with the amazing Screamfeeder, and we're going to talk about their wonderful national tour. So you guys are set to perform with the great Adelita. Can you tell us what it's like going to be performing and going on tour together?
I was like, we had the idea to try and approach her about whether she'd do it. And I think in the back of our minds, we were all like, oh, she ain't going to do it. And then it happened. Like, I was like, oh my God, she's going to do it. And so it's actually a real score for us. Like, we're really, really thrilled about it.
I can't wait. I just think it's going to be great. We're playing with a band from Brisbane and Sydney. We're taking them down to Sydney. They're called Mouse. They're really amazing. Like, it feels like watching us like 25 years ago. Like they've captured a lot of the spirit of stuff back then.
Spirit of 91, man.
Spirit of 91. Pedal hopping like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And we're playing with Moody Beaches in Melbourne with Ad as well, and Rash in Adelaide. So they're old friends of ours. We used to play with them back, like when we were originally doing this tour, it was going to be all these 90s bands. It was going to be Mola playing with us. We had all these great plans, and then everything to it got cancelled, and we tried to do it again and got cancelled. And so this is a much more succinct kind of, really, it just happens over 4 gigs. It's our national tour. It's very concise, and we're going to be like on fire for it. We're going to be so ready for it. Yeah, I can't wait.
Now you've said that, we won't be.
No, we will be. We're practicing every week.
Yeah.
We're playing a bunch of festivals leading up to it, and we've got a renewed kind of
you're right
thing going on. It's good. It's like, it doesn't feel boring. Of course it's not boring, but it's not like, oh, we're just doing the same old thing, because we haven't been able to. So there's this can't wait to do this feeling.
I feel like audiences are just as excited. I feel like audiences are just as excited, because I know that for, as is the rest of the Australian industry for the last 2 years, hasn't been a lot going on. It's just as exciting for you guys to get on tour as it is for the audience to be able to come and watch the tour.
Yeah. And we feel that,
we're so lucky.
I'm excited.
We're so lucky we've got a really lovely core audience who have been with us forever, and they come to every show and they're singing along, and it's really awesome. Yeah.
As time has gone on, have you noticed a change in your audience at all? Have you noticed people coming up, people who you wouldn't expect to be part of your audience, anything like that?
Yeah, pretty much. There's always that sort of core group of people who've always been there, but there's tons of people who, come up to me and say, oh, my dad used to go and see you guys, and now I'm old enough to go to the pub, and now I'm coming to see you guys and I love it, or whatever. Or just friends of friends who come up to you and go, I always used to see you guys playing around, but I never actually went to see you play. And now I'm seeing you, and it's like, oh my God, things like that. So it's really nice, the waves gradually pushing outwards.
Yeah, it would be really
I think it's...
Sorry, go on. Go on.
I was going to say, there's lots of people at our gigs who, as we moved through our progression of our career and did all these things, they had families and stopped going out and stuff, and now their kids have grown up and they're back out again and they're seeing us play again. And I think, there is this huge nostalgia for 90s music, and I kind of feel that it's the nostalgia festival circuit thing that's happening is really fun and great, and it sort of also feels a little bit like the nostalgia isn't necessarily a positive way to look at these bands, because a lot of the bands that are doing these things like us are still putting music out and still doing stuff, and it sort of feels like we aren't known for our newer stuff as much as our older stuff, which is what happens to lots of people. But the thing is, my point was that it's so great having these people who've kind of done a different life come back, and they're coming back to us and they're hearing our new music, and we're playing with younger bands as well, and they get to see them, and music just gives so much in that way.
And also, a lot of bands who get older and start falling into just relying solely on their back catalogue, they also up the production, and they up all the stuff, and they make it all a bit sort of posh or whatever. But we're completely playing the same cruddy little rooms we might have done 10 or 20 years ago sometimes, not always, but we're still making mistakes and having a laugh with the crowd, and we haven't really changed who we are. We haven't really moved away from our thing.
We're not polished, and we're not professional. It's basically what Tim's saying.
No,
can be a good way to be. You've made a career off it for 30 years.
You've done well. You've done well. It's a good full circle moment. I think you guys are doing all right.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
That's all right. Now we're going to do a few rapid fire questions for you guys. So, who has been your biggest musical inspiration or influence?
It changes daily for me today. Sonic Youth.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah.
For me, again, it changes all the time. Like at the moment, I have spiritualized, but you know, it's not like you can hear that in my music. It's just something I really latch onto.
Very cool. Very cool. Is there a favorite thing to do right before a show and right after a show?
Right after a show, I always run to the other end of the room and start selling the merch.
I have to pack up my gear. Before I play, we set up our own stuff. Like we haven't got roadies, and at the end, I have to pack up my own gear. I feel like I don't feel like I've completed my job unless I've packed it up and it's all in the right place. But before I play, if I can, I like to have a hot chocolate now because like I don't drink. So hot chocolate is weirdly calming. And after the gig, I like to hide somewhere.
That is so sweet. What is your funniest tour / performing memory?
Oh God, we've all done stuff like, you know, falling off the stage or falling into the drum kit, throwing guitar at her head one time. Just
That was
like
great.
stupid
Thank you.
stuff, yeah.
I think one of my greatest memories was we played at a school one day, and I think it was a girls' school in Brisbane, and the audience, they were just loving it, like going crazy. And so we actually played one song and got half of the audience on the stage with us, and they were just jumping up and down for this one song. Then the next song we got the other half on, and they jumped up and down on stage with us for that song. And then I don't think they even really knew who we were.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they loved every minute of it, and so did we, and it was a really fun show.
That's so good. And do you like have any advice for aspiring musicians that want to get into the industry?
I literally had to write out a little list the other day for the same question, and my first thing was get good, like just practice. That's if you want to play music, practice your instrument, like practice writing songs, practice playing with people, go to gigs, meet other people who do the same thing, immerse yourself in your scene. That's a very old school approach, but practice. If you're writing music on a computer, practice that. Like, just be good, basically.
And also, like, don't get put off. Don't stop doing it for any pathetic little reason. You know, like, if you can keep doing it for 5 years, 10 years, then bam, you're doing it. It becomes who you are. It becomes your life.
If you're doing it for money, you're doing it for the wrong reason. That's
absolutely. What are both of your favorite songs that you've created and why?
Oh,
wow.
Got you thinking with this one.
You got me good.
Well, I think for me, Stopless is probably my favorite. The song that I've written that I feel encapsulated something, and there's always a lot of really amazing feedback. I've gotten letters from people about that song. You know, people have told me they've cried. You know, I don't know. There's something about that song, and I kind of don't know where it came from, but I'm very proud of that one.
For me, like, it's often the most obscure song that we never did anything with that I absolutely super love. Like, there's this song from our previous album that didn't go on the album, but it was like a B-side. It's called Unfighting. And every time I hear it, I'm like, holy shit, I nailed that song. It's absolutely, like, I could not get it any better. Like, the chord changes kick ass, the way it's put together, the performance, freaking 10 out of 10. I love it.
So cool.
Yeah.
I've got one more. Remember talking of things that we've done that no one else would know about? The song Harlan. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, I nailed the lyrics in that. It's such a great song, and no one's ever heard it.
Yeah.
And what?
And the performance, you're singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, no one's ever heard it. So sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Must be good if you're keeping it for yourself.
It's out there somewhere.
somewhere. Okay, and finally, one final last question. What are you most looking forward to this year in the Aussie music scene?
You know, I want to see some live music and I want to feel safe in it. You know, like I feel a bit funny about all of the video of people seeing bands and crowds, and I don't want to feel, I want to be in it and not worry about it. But I've been like over the last couple of years, I've been listening to lots of different music, and there was one band that I was listening to the record and I actually felt physically sad that I felt like I was never going to get to see them play. And that's a band called Back. Yes. And they're so great. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to see them. Hopefully they tour here, but it was just like, it really smashed me in the chest that I felt like, oh no, I just don't feel like we're going to experience seeing live music the way we used to. So, I mean, that's what I want. I want to be up the front to band play.
Me too. Like I want to. One of my favorite Aussie bands is Sounds Like Sunset from like Newcastle or something like that, and they're recording a new album, and so like they tour very infrequently. So hopefully they'll tour. And also there's another Sydney band called Yes I'm Leaving, punk band, who always kind of like going, oh, we're about to tour, and then falls over. So I'd love to see them if they come back. So yeah, just seeing live stuff again and getting mind blown a little bit.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show and letting us interview. It was really great to obviously hear about all your life, and obviously longevity in the industry is a testament to how hard you guys work and obviously your creativity. So yes, thank you from all of us, the 1700 team. We really do appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah.